Hello. What is up? What's up, friends? So, just gonna check my mic here. I think it's the right one. There we go. Hello, hello. So let a couple people roll in. Yeah, gold's coming up. I figured it would come up. It hasn't touched any price action above the open price here yet, so I'm assuming it's going to come sweep some liquidity above this open price somewhere in here. We'll see. We might find buyers right at the open price or sellers right at the open price too. So we'll keep an eye on that. It's getting close. You just passed Naoma phase 1. Nice. Good morning. Good morning. It is evening for me, by the way. But good morning to you. How was everyone's weekend? Good? I hope so, because the party's over. Time to get serious. Back to our stressful lives, trading and working. My weeks actually aren't nearly as bad as they used to be now that I mostly trade. I don't really have to deal with too much Monday chaos. Mondays were always just so terrible for me back when I was working. It's like you have the whole week to go and you're trying to like get back into it from the weekend or like a couple days off, and there's just so much to set up for the week. Yeah, it's kind of like that with trading, like Mondays a little bit, but not in the same way. Because I like to chill and like I'll do some analysis on Sunday, set up some accounts, come up with a weekly plan. But yeah, don't make me go back. I guess I'll have to go back if I short Bitcoin with everything that I own and it pumps to the moon. What do you think? Right. Does Orb? Okay, yeah, Orb isn't really designed for currency pairs though. I mean, I think I've tested a few different open range. We're working on the Orb EA as well. We've decided to take more time developing it so it's like really easy to use, and we're adding a bunch of features. Um, so I don't have an exact date. Originally, I wanted it out October 1st, but that wasn't gonna happen. So, yo, TX3 funding, Kelvin, what is up? Do you work for TX3 funding? He might not even talk to me. I'm just I'm just targeting him randomly. He's probably just trying to watch his his picture is TX3 funding. TX3 funding was previously top tier trader. They've switched to TX3. They had a broker called EPFX, and they switched their broker to TX3 as well. So it's all like one giant company, TX3 funding. They have a broker, they have a Forex prop firm, and they have a futures prop firm now, which is really interesting. Really solid company. That Anthony guy owns it. I've been following him for years on Instagram. Anthony, I can't remember his Instagram name off the top of my head. His name's Anthony, though. That's all I know. He's got some tattoos. So, what are we looking at today? A few things. Let me see here. Okay, I'm just gonna exit a couple things here. I'll just close those. Come up with a new one. Here we are. Let's go over to the Edge Finder. Pull that up. Yeah, let's take a look at the Edge Finder first before we look at anything else. Gold missed your TP by a few pips. Ooh, I hate that. That's a hard way to start the week. Yeah, I hate it when it's going like in your favor so well, and then all of a sudden buyers come out of nowhere. That's just like, and same thing when you're in a long position and then just sellers sometimes come out of nowhere. What you like to see is like that liquidity sweep. Usually it sweeps through your TP and then it'll reverse. But sometimes it's just so random. It's like It's like a very conservative bearish candle, and all of a sudden, boom. Who's pressing the buy button? Almost 3%. Wow, yeah. Yeah, those swings are painful. So let's see how it goes, though. Okay, so we're looking at the Edge Finder here. If anyone doesn't know what the Edge Finder is, you can check it out. I can put it in the chat here, Edge Finder. Let's see, this one here. Yeah, I'll just throw it in the chat if you guys want to look at it. It's like, I don't know how much it is. You can start at 30 did Charl for 199. I know it's at least, when they're having good sales, it's like 700. So I would wait for the Black Friday sale if you're thinking about it. I'll put it in my story too when they have Black Friday. But yeah, around 700. Super useful software though. They're like, I mean, it's worth every penny if you like to swing trade. Okay, so basically what they do is they take all the economic data reports for, like, you know, USDCAD. Well, all the economic reports for USD and CAD, and then they'll build a comparison. They have an algorithm that builds a comparison, and then it gives it a bullish or a bearish score. So we can see USDCAD is very bullish right now. Let me show you something. So yeah, you see this? So the only thing that's in favor of Canadian dollars is better unemployment rate at the moment and employment change. So everything else is bullish. So I'll show you what that looks like here. See CAD. Okay, so if we go to the 4 hour. Oh, you know what? It's going through a nice pullback right now. You see down here, I've been trying to get in long on this thing, and it just hasn't been pulling back enough. But here we go. So let me just take a look at this right now. So we can see that, yeah, we're pretty bullish, very bullish actually. 10 is quite bullish. Like a conservative bullish would be like 6 or 7. 10 is very bullish. So that would be, I'd be pretty confident to go long here somewhere still on USD. So the question is, where should we do it? I'll hide a few lines here. So let's just take a quick look, and then we'll look at gold. So generally what I like to do when I'm setting up a swing trade, I know what side of the trade I want to be on. That's why the Edge Finder is so useful. It kind of gives you, it's so much easier to know what side you want to be on and then analyze the chart with that bias, rather than looking at a chart and saying, do I want to go long or short? You can't, I mean, I can't do that personally. That's very difficult. So I know I want to go long. So it's like, all you have to ask yourself is like, okay, where do I want to go long? What is the ideal price? I see a couple nice little price points here, actually. The first one's right here. Like right here. We had like a liquidity sweep previously there, and then we had a nice bounce. Like, that's not a bad spot, right? And then sometimes when I mark that out, I'll see if it's a psychological level, which it kind of, nah, it's not really. No, I wouldn't say so. Even 1.4 cents even might not even be psychological. So yeah, that's kind of like the best spot I like. And then the only other thing I do is I'll take the fib lines, and off the previous move, I'll just draw my fib lines like this, right? Super simple. And then this isn't bad because this zone here aligns with the 618. So I can actually get an exact price point now that I'd want to enter. I could just do right on the 618 there. So the idea would be to go long right off that level, like this. You know what I mean? Kind of like that. That's the assumption. And then for stop loss, typically what I'll do is I'll look at this ATR. This is the ATR indicator. You can find it on trading. You just type in ATR. Standard settings, all good. And then right now we can see, I'll squish this down a little bit and zoom out and just kind of get slightly above average, like above, like I'll hover it like up here. So I think like around a 30 pip, 25 to 30 pip stop loss is going to be good for a swing trade. So we do this. Yeah, that's kind of nice, right? Because then we do 30 pip, right? And then we're kind of below a couple key levels, a lot of forgiveness. And then for a TP, 1 to 3 is always nice to aim for. So you go 1 to 3 in this, and then you can kind of play it. You can kind of micromanage it the way you want to if you're hovering in the profit. Like you can remove your TP and just trail your stop loss or whatever you want to do, or you can just set your hards, take profit. There's no wrong answers. It depends on like what you like, right? Like if you like the potential of like a 10x trade, then you want to trail your stop loss, because under the right conditions, if it starts trending really hard, you can trail your stop loss by 30 pips, and then you can potentially get a 10x trade. But if you just like to get in and out, then setting a hard take profit is kind of more your style. So yeah, that's kind of like the trade setup on USDCAD. I'm going to add that to my list here. Oh, I already have it in there. Okay, weekly swing trades. Did Trump screw things? What did Trump do? Did he do anything? Did he do something? I don't really follow Trump. Like I know when he tweets, but that's about it. Like I hear about when he tweets. I don't really use X that much though. I should. Because I feel like if you're super fast, like if you saw a tweet from him and then like took action like within the first 30 seconds, I feel like you could get ahead of everyone else's panic. All right, let's go over to gold because I was looking at a setup here. So go here. Okay. So a couple indicators I have for gold. I have the open price, right? This is the orange line. Super, super useful, guys. Trust me. Always have the open price on. You can find it up here. Just go open price. You can get this one right here. And then you can set it to whatever color you want. I have it orange. Orange. And the reason is because when you're making some plays, like look at this. So here's kind of some logic. If I was looking to take a trade, like just to take an inverse trade to hit a target on my account, well, I would see that currently there's bullish momentum, and currently there has been no price action swept above the open price. That daily candle is likely to have a top wick. So, the odds are price is going to come up and test some of this price action above the open price, even if it is a bearish candle in the day, or it could flip and be bullish. But I think, if there's no price action swept above the open price, we're very likely to come up and test some of that out. Especially during Asian session, I do a lot of these trades on my inverse futures accounts where I wait for a move on one side of the open price, and then I'll target the other side of the open price whenever I see momentum shifting. I wouldn't short here at all until there's some buyers present, right? So I'm not worried about getting a sniper entry. I want to enter momentum with a logical target. If that makes sense. So I'm going to pull up the 9 and 20 EMA. We're going to take a look at the PFK alpha entry model here real quick. And we're going to take the VWAP. The VWAP's the yellow line. Okay. All right. So a few things here. We want to look at the 1 hour chart. We have the 9 and 20 EMA. You can see we have a lot of bearish momentum right now. And a couple other interesting things that we should flag is, the ATR. Usually we do the 1 hour ATR for stop loss range, but currently, because of Friday's volatility, it is $32. I'm not going to do a $32 stop loss on gold for a day trade. The odds are low that there's going to be the volatility like we saw on Friday for whatever reason. So I could probably cut that in half and be safe. So I already sent a message out in my VIP community for people to kind of cut the 1 hour ATR in half until it comes down a bit. Like a $15 stop loss would be reasonable for gold. A $30 stop loss, you're going to be in that trade for a long time, probably, unless you're doing an inverse trade. But yeah, just a heads up. So what we're waiting for here, because we have really bearish momentum, we'll go back to the 5-minute. What we kind of want to see, what I would like to see, is price to come up, sweep above that open price, and then start to reverse. And then we have this kind of crossover on the EMAs like this, right? And then we would want to enter short. We would want to be cautious of the, oops, I accidentally marked the view up, but let me just redo that. It's going to bother me. There we go. So that crossover, like that's kind of like what I would look for going short. And the reason why I want to go short on gold is because the 1 hour momentum is extremely bearish. The one downside too is we might not even be bearish on the 4 hour yet because gold's been so strong. So yeah, you can see that. We were catching really good entries on PFK Alpha all the way up here for the last, oh man, where did it start? Yeah, it started here. So yeah, PFK Alpha has been going long 90% of the time, like the EA that we have running, since the end of August, right? So for almost 2 months, almost 2 months, almost, it's been pumping. So that's not bad. But now the problem is we still have that bullish momentum on the 4 hour, but the 1 hour is actually quite bearish. So we're kind of fighting a little bit against that 4 hour momentum, which is kind of a red flag. But just in terms of day trading, though, it's not necessary for us to be aligned with 4 hour. It's just nice to be, right? It's not a requirement, though. So we are going to wait for some price action like this. Yeah, you see this? We're about to test the open price. So I would not be surprised if this thing sweeps above the open price here. But we do have a lot of bearish pressure on gold. Let's look at the edge finder for gold. You know what? That's a good idea. Let's take a little peek here. Top setups. Where is gold at? So gold is at a 3, which is neutral. So when it's at neutral, it's obviously you're going to have an edge to go long if you're going long with the higher time frame trends, but it can definitely run out of momentum when it's been pumping so long. We could have a bearish week, like a bearish weekly candle. We could. It would be the first one in 9 weeks. So, yeah, the thing is, employment rates here are bullish, and interest rates are bullish. Those are the two most impactful indicators to be bullish on gold. So, I don't know how much it can possibly pull back. I guess if I were to look for an entry for a swing trade, let's do that. Just going to hide that again. Okay, let's see what we can find. Okay, well, the only thing I can possibly do is, number one, we could look for a psychological level. Maybe 4,100. That could be a nice psychological level. 4,200 also, but we already had a mean reversion at 4,200. You see that? Look at that. We overstretched by $15. Doesn't look much because there's so much volatility, but we did find buyers at 4,200 because the 4 hour candle didn't even close below 4,200. You see that? So that's kind of like, that's pretty important. And then now from 4,200, we are already pumping. Yeah, we are $60 up above 4,200 now. So that would have been a nice psychological play. But with that being said, if you were attempting a psychological play at 4,300 when it pulled back, you would have gotten cooked, right? See this? So it doesn't always work all the time. So it's not the only thing you can kind of consider. It literally dumped like $100 in within 4 hours. So if we're considering psych levels, 4,200 could be something to watch, but I think 4,100 is a bit more relevant now that 42 has been swept. So let's mark that out, like right there. Now here's the thing: we could go with a fib and see where that sits on the fib. And it sits pretty close to the 618 pullback. Now, 618 is a pretty strong pullback, right? but it's not to say it's impossible. You might be waiting all week for it to come down there. That would be the most ideal situation. Like, it sells off all week, kind of. We catch a lot of that bearish momentum that's on the 1 hour. We find some good short entries, ride it down to 4,100, and then we get a nice bounce on a Friday or something. Let's just say that. Let's just assume that would be the best case scenario, right? So that's kind of like what I'm looking at for gold. I don't know how hard it can possibly pull back. This thing might just like go to the back to all-time highs. It could overnight, But this was such a strong relevant move. I don't know. It might roll over a bit more before we can find buyers because this was such a strong move. So let's see how the next 24 hours goes. I think that's going to tell us a lot. It's always hard to come up with some good analysis on Sunday because there's not any market structure for the week yet. Why not enter long? For the PFK alpha entry model, we trade with the 1 hour momentum. So we don't want to go long yet because on the 1 hour chart, we can see here the 9 and the 20 EMA are clearly bearish at the moment, right? But with that being said, we also don't want to go short if we're closing above the 20 EMA here. So we have to watch that. But it shouldn't be okay. Like, it should be fine. It might roll over. So we'll go back. Okay, we are testing the open price now. So let's see if we can find sellers here. I don't think we will. I think we'll kind of test this area like I was saying earlier. This area up here somewhere before it starts to roll over. If it does, it should roll over a little bit. I don't think the sellers are done. I mean, Friday's event was very dramatic. We'll see. So typically there's sellers waiting at the open price. It can act as resistance. But in this current state, I think we're going to be climbing a little bit here. Let me just check something here. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad. Okay, so no potential entries on gold. US 500 usually at this time isn't great, but let's take a peek. Oh, we might actually get an entry model here. Actually, let's see. Oh no, we're bullish on the 1 hour. Okay, you see this here, guys? I'll show you. So this is the 1 hour, right? We had a crossover bullish after all that sell off on Friday. So we're bullish right now. Now look at this. This is interesting, right? We haven't swept any price action above the open price. Like I was saying, just like with gold, right? So this right here, let me get the VWAP up. So this is actually a perfect read to go long back here. If you are watching this thing, this is such ideal conditions because we opened extremely bearish. No liquidity swept above open price. We are bullish on the 1 hour, so we're looking for longs. Our crossover is right here. And as soon as the candle closes at the crossover, it's actually closing above the VWAP as well. So we're currently at that open price. It's pulling back to our entry. So the entry was right here. So this could be something, that you could look to trade, targeting above the open price for a entry. This is like you could target like a $20 move or something. And then for the stop loss, you go like 1 to 2. So this isn't a terrible setup if you're looking for an entry. Another thing you could do if you want to be patient and more conservative, we could wait for these EMAs to roll over again and then recross, right? Roll over again and then recross. So you would enter on that recross so long as it closes above that VWAP. You're good to go. And you don't really have to be worried as much about the open price, like I said, because no liquidity has been swept yet. So that could be an interesting trade setup. Another thing you could do too is you could take a long off the VWAP bounce. That's also valid because it kind of all aligns with the same analysis, right? So looking kind of nice and bullish on US 500 here in the short term. So take a peek at that. We're testing it right now. So that would be a trade I would definitely take right here. Take a peek at DXY. Oh wow, look at this, eh? Sorry, my Canadian was coming out there. Look at this, bud. Yeah, we opened crazy bearish and just it opened at a gap, I think, and then dumped. Right? That's what happened. Oh no, it just dumped right off. I can't even tell what happened. That's a little weird. The DXY is just bearish. Okay, let's take a look at Edgefinder. We can take a couple peeks at more potential swing trade setups. I can look at NAS too. NAS is a similar situation, except NAS is actually above the open price. A little bit different of a situation here, but we are bullish on the 1 hour. Definitely bullish on the 1 hour. So we could do a VWAP play very easily here as well. And you could target the previous swing high. You know, you have to be a little bit easy on the profit targets, especially during Asian session. This isn't going to move like it does during New York. Normally a $40 move would last like 3 minutes during New York session, right? But like during Asian session, it could go on for like an hour. So something like this could be fair, right? You're defensive against the open price, the VWAP, all of it. So yeah. So yeah, we get a little bounce off the VWAP, a little bounce there. So that's kind of nice to see. Okay, what else we got? Yeah, if you have any question, guys, you can talk to me in chat. I'm just chilling tonight. I'll try to answer whatever you got. It's not very intensive because I'm not actually like trading live during New York, which is kind of a lot more intense. So Nasdaq's bullish. That's kind of nice to see if we want to look for longs anyway. Same with SPY. Platinum, don't really care. Platinum's really awkward. GBP AUD, we could look at that. That's pretty unique. Let's take a look at GBP AUD. Bullish. Okay, what's happened here? Hey, that's actually not bad. We're going through a pullback on GBP AUD right now. Now we can also look at some other data here, which is interesting. If I go to history, I type in GBP AUD, we can see the scores for the last month. Well, we could go more. Okay, so that's pretty good because we can see we've been actually gaining strength over the last 30 days, but it's currently going through a pullback. So those are the type of conditions that I really like to look for an entry on. So take a peek here. Orb Asian timing, I don't trade Orb Asian at all. So you know what? If I was you though, and I'm looking for an orb entry for Asian, I would use the 30-minute or the 1 hour because there's not enough volatility during Asian session usually to get like a legitimate sized orb. So yeah, maybe test it out on 30-minute, and if it's still not enough, go for an hour. The first hour of Asian open could be your orb, perhaps. What's the problem with TPT? Oh, the problem is the funded accounts have equity trailing drawdown. So you'll see what I mean when you try to trade it. It's very difficult. And you can only request profit above the buffer. So getting that buffer is very difficult with equity trailing. That's the problem with it. Not to say that I haven't been profitable. It's just kind of a headache to get that first trade. Once you get the first trade, then the odds of a second, third, fourth payout's high, but winning the first trade is such a low probability. So I could actually trade like 5 of those accounts. I'd be lucky if I hit one trade. That's how hard it is. Because equity trailing drawdown doesn't speak for anything about the reality of trading. Like all you're hoping for when you do equity trailing is a god candle in your direction. You can't have it chopping around back and forth up to your TP because you'll hit your stop loss even if you're in the profit, right? It's very difficult. So you need a candle like this, a god candle. Okay, so GBP AUD, typically, what I would just look for here, we had a lot of sell-off, right? And now we're having a pump. So we have quite a bit of flexibility to the upside here, right? This level right here is going to be an issue to try to break. So if we set up our trade, we want to make sure our TP is within that range because that is likely to find sellers again. So let's take a peek. Do Fibonacci from this. I like this point for Fibonacci to this point. And that's a really nice reversal candle. Okay, well, there's 2 levels here that are interesting. There's the 50 retracement and there's 618 retracement. Now, I think the 50 is probably more realistic. Or you could do a play somewhere in between. Like we could just call this an entry zone. And if price comes into this zone here and then gets spit out, then you could look for an entry somewhere as it's getting spit out, like right here. So you could plan for that, right? So the thing is I like to do, I mark up the chart with a dream scenario, and if it starts to play out the way I wanted it to, then I'll get in the trade. So it would be like this, right? So I'm not getting a sniper entry, but I'm getting a price action entry. And then I could target, I think a 25 pip stop loss is probably okay there. I'll take a peek here. Oh, it's not volatile at all. GBP AUD has no volatility. Look at this. Wait, is that 71 pips? Oh, no, that's 70 pips. Okay, never mind. It's not bad. I thought it was 7 pips. I was like, what? Okay, that's too little. So you probably want to go at least... What? Wait, this doesn't look right. Am I tripping? 70. Okay, we have an above average spike. That's why. So average is usually around here, which is 50 pips. So 50 pip stop loss. I mean, you could actually go 40. That's plenty because we're below that swing low here. You don't need to go more than that. The problem is we have to target that. That doesn't really work. So I think in this situation, because the take profit's a little awkward, you go more of an aggressive entry to get your risk to reward up to par. Like we could go there for a 1 to 2 like that. Okay, so that's kind of like what I would do. It would be a nice quick trade. It would be like a couple days maybe, if that. So that's kind of a trade. Let's add that to the weekly swing trade. We'll see how that goes. Can you once cleared the buffer, have you ever tried inverse? Yeah, that's what I do, inverse. So once you clear the buffer, you inverse everything. Yeah. I'll target. So what I like to do, so I would say, Hammy, if you're looking for like, let's say your goal is to make $200 a day trading, whatever, you can target $200 and risk your 2,000 of drawdown, and then just withdraw every day. Now, I wouldn't recommend requesting a payout every day. You might piss them off, but you can transfer your profit to your wallet once per day. So that's kind of nice. So if you're like, hey, I'm just looking to replace my income, go for $200 a day. And then you do an inverse. An inverse is going to be a 10 to 1. So you're very likely to hit like 20 trades in a row, 30 trades in a row, right? If you're trading with momentum. And then I would only do like one contract max. One contract max if you're targeting 200. That way you would need like $100 move, or you would need like a very large move not in your direction to hit. Yeah, $40 move against you with pretty much a sniper entry for you to blow that account. What did gold end up doing? Well, it did kind of find sellers there at the open price a little bit. US 500 bouncing off that VWAP. Yeah. Can you please share the settings for anchored VWAP? This isn't anchored VWAP. This is just VWAP. Anchored VWAP something different. So this is VWAP. So just type in VWAP here. Volume weighted average price. Okay. And the settings I can show you. There's just standard to trading view. But yeah, you can screenshot that if you want. Anchor period session. Make sure your time zone is set to New York or it might screw it up. Some people had that issue before. And then the source is this high and low plus C, whatever that means, divided by 3. I don't know what that means, but that's the default for trading view. So, and then you can set it to whatever color you want. Yeah, a nice little VWAP play there. See if we can get a good bounce. So far, it just bounced $3, nothing relevant. During Asian session, it's going to be kind of chill. But yeah, it's likely this thing will come up. This is really nice price action, though. Comes down, sweeps the low, breaks through the VWAP, no resistance, retest, bounce. Ideally. That's what we would see many times anyway. Let's take a peek at silver. Now, silver's sitting at $52 an ounce, which is crazy. It did sell off from 54.5. We are currently bearish on silver in terms of 1 hour momentum. So if we go to the 5-minute chart, we could definitely find a bearish entry. But it would have to roll over quite a bit because we're pretty strong above the VWAP now. So yeah, I don't think silver looks as good to trade at the moment. We need more structure to form around the VWAP. You entered short on gold? Let's see. Okay. All right. Yeah, good luck. Yeah. I mean, hopefully that works out. It might get rejected off the open price and come down. We'll see. Hopefully you have a good size stop loss, because if it doesn't come back down, it might come and sweep above that open price before coming down a little bit. It usually does. Okay, let me check. Before we bounce here, guys, I'm just going to check EUR GBP. You can't see it. I'll hide my camera for a second. EUR GBP down here, it's bearish, -6. Let's take a look at that. Oh, and we should also look at any news coming up right now. Oh, we have a chill week, huh? Is that right? Wow. Nothing until Friday. Is that right? Does anyone know if this is wrong? I feel like it's been messed up since the government's been shut down. I should check my FX book. Let's see this week. Nothing until Thursday. Is that right? October 23rd. It said there's jobless claims on Thursday. Thursday. I don't know why it's not showing up here. That's strange. Can you see that? No, that's not gonna work. I don't think that'll work. Too blurry. But yeah, you check my FX book. I don't know what's going on with Forex Factory. Okay, URGBP. Time to take a peek. So we were bearish. Oh wow, this thing's just dumping. Oh, that's 5-minute chart. Let's see. Yeah, this is another one we were trying to get an entry on. We could not get the right pullback at all. I wanted it here, but I just couldn't find enough buyers. We were right in the analysis. We're right on the bias, but we couldn't get the right entry. So the only play I see here is like this, right? Targeting this previous ceiling. Something like that. The stop loss is good, 30 pips. I think we're pretty close to that range on the 4-hour here. Yeah. That's well above the 4-hour average, so that's okay. So it kind of look like this. I'll put this in the... We'll watch this one. See how it plays out. Let's see. This one, oh yeah, this one was so depressing, guys. We set this one up, and it just hit my stop loss like a sniper tap, and then went to the moon. Oh, it happens sometimes. The whole analysis was bang on, but we had this manipulation here that was very unusual. I mean, look at these two candles compared to all the other price action. So that was unfortunate. The analysis was great, though. It was a great analysis, but we just had this manipulation that knocked us out of the trade. The market makers were watching my stream. I don't know why, but they were in here. They were creeping. They were targeting exactly where I put my stop loss last week. So they like to do that. Okay, so USDCAD, I'm going to post this swing trade in the swing trade setups. And this one here, this one was so perfect. So we had redemption because this one was a perfect exit. But look at this one here. This one was a perfect take profit. Absolutely perfect. We had a few pips to spare. Yeah, 5 pips to spare on this one. It was a sniper entry. We didn't even have 1 pip of drawdown. Straight up to the TP, we got out, and then it just dumped. Perfect. Love to see it. So I'm going to post USDCAD on there, and then we'll keep a closer eye on these two. These are a bit lower quality, but USDCAD is my favorite entry to start the week. So take a look at that. I'll put it in the swing trade channel. And we'll see how it goes this week. So, all right, chat. That's gonna be it for me. I have some accounts to set up and whatnot. So hopefully that was useful for you guys. And I'm gonna be around. So if you ever need anything, just give me a message in the chat there. All right. Have a good week. Hope you get some wins, and I'll talk to you in a bit. Peace.